I was over working in my mother's yard on November 25th of 2019. Started to feel a little bit dizzy. I locked up, kind of set myself just to let it pass. And then everything started to turn white. And the last thing I saw was just all white.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
Well, I'm at 228 West Pershing, but it's my next door neighbor. He was mowing the grass and he collapsed. He's laying in the backyard by the lawnmower.
Can you check to see if he's breathing?
It doesn't look like he's moving at all.
Okay, do you know approximately how old he is?
Oh, I bet he's in his 70s.
Okay. Attention, Stone Valley Ambulance 311 South Hickory, 311 South Hickory. A male subject collapsed while mowing. He's unresponsive. Your neighbor, is she able to get on the ground to see if he's breathing?
No, she can't get around very well herself.
Oh, County 311 South Hickory.
Just keep talking to him, okay?
Okay. He's not moving at all.
So you're unable to start CPR?
No.
Okay. His chest isn't rising and falling?
No. It's Rick Dyal.
Okay. Is anyone able to check to see if he's breathing? Okay, the ambulance is on scene. Do you see him?
Pardon me?
Are you in the back of the residence, Deb?
Yeah, I'm in the backyard.
Okay, they're on scene. They're out front. They're coming around, okay?
Okay. Here.
Do you want to get off the phone with me, or do you want to stay on the line? Deb,
Okay.
I can let you go if you'd like.
Okay.
All right.
They're coming back here right now.
Okay. All right, take care.
On November 25th, 2019, I was involved in a cardiac arrest save. We got dispatched for a guy who had collapsed while mowing, which was a tone out. We had responded. Luckily, myself and another EMT were at the station that day, and we were able to respond promptly. On our arrival, we found Rick laying on the ground, face up, unresponsive, not breathing. I started cardiopulmonary resuscitation immediately, and then my partner went and secured the mower to make sure that didn't become a further issue. As soon as my partner was done, we switched. We got our cardiac monitor on him and saw that he was in unstable rhythm. His ventricular fibrillation was what he was in, which means the heart just sits there and quivers. It doesn't actually perfuse. I had recognized that rhythm, charged our monitor, and defibrillated him immediately. That is something that is very important when it comes to cardiac arrest and really helps improve their chance of survival. He did convert into a regular rhythm. We still weren't able to palpate a pulse on him, so then we loaded him in the ambulance, continued CPR, and started transport to the closest hospital, which was Swedish American. While in and out, I did perform an intraosseous catheter, which I was able to give him some medications and some fluids through to help his heart start going again. I only gave him one round of medication, and then we were able to palpate a pulse again. We also secured his airway in that time as well. And then from there it was just pretty much routine transport. We monitored his vital signs, we monitored his cardiac rhythm, and when we got him to the hospital, he had a very strong pulse going, and we all thought that his prognosis was hopefully well.
My first memory is waking up and seeing my brother and cousin standing at the end of my bed talking on the third day. I was in the hospital about 11 days. The percentages of less than 10% survive what I had gone through, which was a cardiac arrest. And of that only about 5% come out without any, I guess, damage of any kind, brain damage. And so they were looking for any sign they could while I was in the hospital, any signs of hope. And I guess about the fourth day in there, the male nurse was saying, Rick, can you give us a thumbs up? Can you give us a thumbs up? And they said, finally, I just slowly raised my hand and turned my thumb up. And he said, and then they were like, well, he's still in there anyway. So they knew that, but they just, at that point, they were concerned just how far back I would come, you know, as far as the brain damage. This is why it's so important, the reaction time, especially. I mean, for this first responders to react as quick as they did. It just happened that a neighbor, which I hardly ever see out in the yard, happened to be outside. She turned and saw me laying in the grass. She didn't know quite how long I had been there, but she come over, shook me, and I didn't move. So then she goes back to her house. She makes the call, but they said that from the time they contacted the first responders down here at the department, it was, they thought it had to be 2 minutes at the most, which is phenomenal. And, you know, I'm no medical expert, but I'm told that you can't lay there very long with your heart not beating before you start getting brain damage, and the hopes of you coming back is not too good.
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, is performed when a patient's heart is not beating for them. So our job is to beat the heart for them. We have a Lucas device, which we did deploy on this call. What it does is, like I said, it beats the heart for the patient and helps perfuse the brain, which is the most important thing. After 2 minutes, the chance of survival goes down significantly, and after 5 minutes, it goes down even more.
Not only the response was quick, but the expertise and the training was there. And not only the training, but they acted quickly on it and confidently. They didn't hold back. They did what they felt they needed to do, and they did it quickly. And because of that, I'm here today, and there's absolutely no doubt about it. So the response time is very, very critical. And I can't imagine what would have happened if the staff hadn't have been here right on, you know, in-house to respond that quickly. So I would hate to think what would happen to somebody's loved one if the same thing happened to them that happened to me, and it happened to be at night or outside the range when there's people in-house here, and they have to wait for responders to drive into the station first. That I can't imagine, because if it takes 10 minutes at best for some to get in here, I didn't have 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I think, for me, I'd be gone. When I talked to some of the nurses and people that took care of me later on, and I told them the story of what was done to hold me to survive until I got up there, they were really incredulous that a small community like this had the expertise. The people of the hospital are like, really? Stillman Valley, really? They had that expertise and the equipment.
On the day that this particular call happened, it was daytime, the station was staffed. And without looking at the numbers, I think we were on scene within 2 minutes of the time that we were dispatched. So from the time 911 was called by the neighbor, it was probably 3 minutes from the time 911 was called until the time that we arrived and actually had hands on Mr. Dyal. This is an amazing story with an amazing outcome that is what I would contribute solely to being able to be at the patient within just a couple of minutes. There's a lot of statistics that talk about oxygenation to the brain and oxygen in your body, and if your heart stops, how long you can survive without any deficits. And Mr. Dyal that day was lucky enough to not only be in the vicinity that we could arrive on scene quickly, but we also had the ability to have staff leave the station as soon as we were dispatched. In a different situation, if it were nighttime and or a weekend, we might have had our on-call staff respond from home, and it could have taken 10 to 15 minutes depending on the weather. And I can tell you the outcome probably would have been very different with Mr. Dyal that day. We're very fortunate for the staff that we have, the quick thinking that they have, the dedication and the compassion they have, but we still have to contend with time when it comes to patient care and dealing with fire emergencies as well. The way Stillman Fire Department staffs right now is during the day we have part-time staff that's at the station from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 p.m. On nights and weekends we're staffed with on-call staff that respond from their home. This is a benefit for us because we always know we have somebody on a schedule. Due to governing mandates with minimum wage, we are no longer going to be able to pay people for responding from home because they'll be on a schedule. The state of Illinois says if somebody is on a schedule, they are considered to be part-time staffing. Because of this, the Stillman Fire Department is seeking 2 referendums to make it possible for us to have people in our fire station 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in order to guarantee that, at least for a first out call, we have trained medical responders and fire department responders for any situation that might occur.
My main thing that I would emphasize is you can have the experts and you can have the people that can get the job done, but if they can't get there on time, then it's not going to do you a whole lot of good.